and they've got the Paul Pogbas, but I don't think they have the complete buy-in into what we're, into what they're doing like we do. And I don't think
Yeah,
that
they
they've
don't
got.
have the Harry Winkses. They don't have the Musa Sissoko's, the Fernando Llorentes.
No, but I think that what they don't have, I mean, they have a very good manager, but I don't think they really have I don't think they have an identity. And, Klopp had made a comment, I think, earlier in the week that said, look, don't get me wrong, Lukaku's a very, very good player, but he doesn't do half the things that a Harry Kane does. And look how often you find Harry Kane picking the ball up in, almost at midfield. He did it today. He defends. I mean, don't get me wrong, Romelu Lukaku's a great player, and they've got great players on their team. But I don't really view them collectively, um, in the same vein that I do us. Now, look, I mean, it could be a disaster on Saturday. But I don't know. I'm not worried about. I don't say I'm not worried. I don't have this sense of intrepidation
No.
that I typically do going into a fixture like that.
Hey, let me pull us back again because I want to keep living in this. I don't want to let it go. I want to talk about some of these individual performances that some of the players had against Real Madrid because I think, the job of two young players in particular, Davinson Sanchez and Harry Winks, I think we got to talk about what they did going up against some of these giants, the Galacticos, the way Harry Winks was able to control the midfield by himself, the lone center defensive midfielder. I mean, that first goal that we had, granted it being an own goal, if you go back and watch it, it all starts from Harry Winks. He holds off Karim Benzema, just completely bosses him off the ball, holds it up, and then just plays a direct pass.
Didn't he make like a ridiculous
perfectly
turn
down to
there?
Aurier. Yeah,
Yeah, I
makes
mean,
the turn just-
he makes an incredible turn on him, and then makes this just the first pass, kind of like what he did today. That first pass, and then led to another pass that led to a goal. It was to
yeah.
Aurier.
He says, "Hold off, you got 7 inches on me, but hold the fuck back. I got this." And then
Just 7.
I don't know. I need. I'm not talking about dick size. I was talking about height, Kenny. But just, I mean, the ability. Yeah, the
What was the
banter.
first thing you said to me? And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what he's going to say here.
I mean, I think he did a great job in that match, going up, showing the world, who he is, who he's about. Like Sam was saying earlier, he doesn't piss about. He completely controlled that game with the movement of his ball as far as, our chances moving forward, and had me thinking towards the end of the game, not about escaping with a point, but thinking we could come with all three. He started creating chances throughout that match. The other one,
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Kenny.
I was going to
Go
say,
ahead, go ahead.
I was going to make a comment about Winks, and that I think when you think about Harry Kane and you see what he's done and how he's come up through the youth system and done this whole bit and has made himself into the superstar that he is, and the argument has been made, and I think everyone agrees, he is now world class. I think Harry Winks is the first of possibly at least a good handful, dare I say many, that are going to come through the ranks behind him and look at that template that he has put down, that gauntlet that he has put down, and said, this is how you do it. This is the work you have to put in. This is what you have to do in terms of your diet. This is what you have to do in terms of how you approach the game as a whole. And I think Winks sees that and is emulating it in his own position and taking the best of what we talked about. I can't remember if I had this conversation with all of you or just with Simon, taking the best of the Dembeles and the Winyamas and the Dyers and making it his own to become the center midfielder that he's become. But I think he's the first of what could possibly be many, that they see what Kane has done and how he did it, and now I'm going to do this too because I'm going to follow his model.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. I know that it's easy to get sort of irrationally exuberant about players, but to the points that you've just made with the players that have progressed in a similar fashion, particularly Kane, and the senior experienced players that he's got, right, to teach him and to look up to, and a great manager to guide him. Although you probably need to see more weeks like he had this week, there's not a lot of reasons to think that he doesn't stand a very good chance of becoming a fantastic player and having a fantastic career.
Totally
I mean, yeah,
agree.
we didn't even talk about it. I mean, he played for England, had a fantastic. He was man of the match in his England debut. I mean, granted, it was against Latvia, whoever it was, but still, who cares? Doesn't matter. I mean, that's a big deal. Getting a cap like that.
Latvia, Lithuania, whoever.
Yeah,
What
Lithuania, who was it? Yeah, Lithuania. You're right. Yeah.
What about you guys? Any individual performances you saw that you want to touch on?
From Madrid?
No, the one.
Yes.
The one that the only my biggest takeaway is that we go to Madrid, and arguably our most important player on the pitch, aside from Harry Kane, had his worst match of the year, as you've said. Noticeably so. It was horrible from the moment go. He lost the ball twice in the first minute and 15. In fact, the first time he lost the ball was when Ronaldo went on. I think went on. No. Maybe it was later, but he played horrible. He did. Had a bad day at the office. Wasn't really that great today. Was good. Was okay. Certainly wasn't as bad as what he was midweek. Yet we got two very good results. So and you know what? And Sissoko started and didn't really screw anything up, and I was pleased. I thought he had a good game. I thought he played well.
For me, the performance that I really want to comment on is Vertonghen. Even though he was playing against a kid on that right side, he was put into a position that's not generally where he plays. And
that kid's good too.
If he's playing for Real Madrid in the Champions League, he does not suck.
Man, that kid's 18 years old. I guess he's Moroccan.
Mm-hmm.
God, he was good. He played really well.
And it's not only that he played well in that match. I think arguably that Vertonghen is having the best season of his entire career right before our eyes. I think that he is playing out of his skin at times. Today he was unfathomable. He untouchable. You're not going to get a ball by him. I would love to look at the stats and see how many actual tackles he had, because nothing got by him today. And I made the comment, and I think someone on Twitter, and someone had tweeted back, best season ever. And I thought about that, and I totally agree. You know, we talked about Sanchez, how he has come in, and Alderweireld, who played his 100th appearance for Spurs today. Oh, by the way, I think someone had tweeted out earlier in the year, I think that back three could actually protect an entire nation from a nuclear blast. I mean, they are just rock solid, that good. I pray neither of them come down with any kind of an injury of a major magnitude. But Vertonghen for me in that match was outstanding. Outstanding.
He's I've always sort of described him as good as he wants to be, and I think he is in a setup where he's able to do exactly that.
Plus, he has that Dele-esque thing where if you're not a fan of Spurs, you don't like him, because he does search for a red card, and he flops around a little bit much, and tends to draw players into acquiring yellows and possibly even red cards. So.
He's a feisty competitor. Pints and I were laughing so hard today. Pints caught him. So, Harry's goal was off a deflection. Well, Vertonghen had a fierce shot, came off of Mignolet, I think. And comes back to Kane, and Kane knocks it in. And if you watch the replay, you're going to see Vertonghen put his hands on his head because he's so pissed that his shot didn't go in.
It's been a few years since he scored in the Premier League.
It has, and he was. I mean, for Ajax, he scored all the time.
Yeah. So did Sanchez. By the way, for Ajax, he had 6 goals last year.
He's having a wonderful year. He looks like he's just very free, very happy.
He denied Isco from coming into our box on multiple occasions. Match. He was great.
Yeah, and that right back was a handful as well. He was a very good player, and I think that he was at a deficit from a speed perspective, but he used all of his guile and his experience, and really kind of kept him at bay. He's been very good, no question.
What else you got, Tim? I know you had a lot of notes on this match, man. What else you got?
I mean, we've touched on a lot of it, and we need to get it moving forward. It is. My wife's giving me looks because it's Walking Dead premiere night, so she wants me to hurry it up. But I got one more on Real Madrid, and that's, I don't think we can pass this match without talking about Serge Aurier. Because when he's out, I mean, obviously he gave up the penalty kick. It was a boneheaded move. It's a rash challenge. We've seen that twice from him now, making sliding tackles when he doesn't need to. And what we get from him.
Had one today against Salah too.
Yeah. And what we get from him is a bit of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You hope it's going to be Dr. Jekyll out there the whole time, but Mr. Hyde comes through at some points. And I think, taking that penalty aside, it was a huge moment in the game, and I don't want to say that I'm looking at it lightly, but I think if you look aside from that one bad challenge, I think he had an excellent match. I talked about it before. I thought a lot of it was going to come down to the matchup between him and Marcelo, and I think he did great with neutralizing Marcelo, who, Sam thinks Modric is the best center defensive mid. I think he's the best left back in the world. He kept him from moving forward. You didn't see Modric creating those chances like he does.
And took him on constantly.
Yes, he took him on so many times. He put in that great cross that turned into the own goal. So, I mean, like I said, you can't not take into account that penalty kick, but aside from that,
finding his way. He's finding his way, right? I mean, playing in Liga, versus playing in the Premier League are two completely different things. And it doesn't matter whether you're a good player or not. He's a good player and he's very skillful. And he did something. He worked out of a really, really tight space in that game that really showed his skill. So I mean, he's learning his way. He was immature when he got his red card. It was an immature. Move that he made against Cruz. But I think it was, I don't know, one of you two was talking about today. He's enjoying his football, man. I mean, who was it? One of you said when Kane scored, he was when somebody scores, he's the first guy to go over and congratulate. Big ass smile on his face. It's him.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the shackles are off of him now.
Well, you got to think about the situation he was in, and granted, he created a bad situation for himself with Paris Saint-Germain. He talked about how they offered him more money. They wanted to re-sign him. They wanted to extend his contract. He just wanted to get out of there. It wasn't a good situation for him anymore. We know his comments towards the manager and Zlatan. He's pissed him. He's got the team pissed off at him. He's got the city pissed off at him. He's punching cops. I mean, it was time for him to move on, and he wasn't going to enjoy it there. And you can see it's just like it's a relief for him here, especially with him being with Sissoko, who they are good friends. That's translated into Sissoko playing better.
Sissoko, it helps
very much so.
Yeah, it really has. They have this sort of this kind of kinship together.
Relationship on that right side. Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Tim, I think you make a good point, and I also think it's worth shouting out that if it's any other manager other than Pochettino, where these players, I think that they truly, honestly and truly, don't want to disappoint that man. If Serge Aurier goes anywhere else, he's liable to fall back in. And look, he still could. I think that he is looking at this as almost like a rebirth, and he does not want to upset that man, because mainly he doesn't want the headbutt that Pochettino's promised if he fucks about. Hamstrings. Groin.
All right. Oh yeah.
Niggles.
Oh, by the way, so I've got the audio, and I was going to do it today, but I was kind of screaming and yelling at the pub, and my voice wasn't up to it. But I'm going to have that done.
That's going to be brilliant.
Jesse's been amazing, and he's helped me out, and I'm close.
But it is time for the Community Beer Company's. I'm going to sponsor you with the Funnel Cake Ale, man, because I know you love it. I
had one of them. Watching the Cowboys game earlier today.
Community Beer Company's Funnel Cake. It is State Fair time. Funnel Cake Ale, Tim's Master of the Macabre. Injury update for West Ham and Man United. Lay it on.
It's injury.
I'm excited about Wednesday.
Injury time. It's actually better than I thought it was.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
about
so
Wednesday, man. There's a possibility.
Let's take a look at these injuries. Talking about West Ham, not injury related, but Andy Carroll has served his suspension, so he's back in contention. Chicharito had an injury scare during training. It was a hamstring concern. He pulled up. They sent him to the hospital for scans. All checked out fine. He was able to play against Brighton. So those two are available. James Collins has missed the last 4 games with an ankle injury. He started training again, but they're not playing well, but I guess for West Ham standards, Jose Font and Winston Reid have been in good form. So I think regardless of if James Collins is fully fit, he faces some competition at that position.
That may have been the most understated comment of the entire year. Sam, West Ham are not playing well.
They are awful.
They're shit.
But they will field their best their best lineup Wednesday, right?
Oh yeah,
Right? You think?
Cup final.
Maybe.
Again.
I mean, yeah, that's